Hi, in this week's video, I'll be telling you 10 things I don't really like about the Audi E-Tron. Let's get cracking. So first off is the air conditioning. Now, this car cost in excess of £70,000. I mean, the aircon is not that good. Recently, it was 25 degrees. I set the aircon to 17 because the car had been sitting. It was really, really hot in the car. After driving 10 miles, I was still really, really hot in the car. It just didn't seem that effective on auto setting to bring the car down to the right temperature. Now, this car has got a big cabin, so that might be part of the problem, and it's got a lot of glass. We've also got an e-Golf, and that's kind of similar, really. So maybe it's a Volkswagen Audi group thing on their EVs, but I don't think the aircon in this car is quite as good as its petrol or diesel counterpart. Okay, so the next thing on the list is the back windows. So this is a big car with big doors, but the back windows don't really go down that far. There's a lot of window kind of left. With such a big door, I don't really understand why the window can't go all the way down. The kids don't like it in the back either. They're 10 and 13. It kind of just gets on their nerves a bit that the windows don't come down properly. Next is the lack of wing mirrors on some models. Now, I get the camera system, it looks really cool. That's not that good. Now, I've made a whole video about the Audi virtual camera wing mirrors, so I won't talk about it too much here, but they're not as good as normal mirrors. I'll link you to my playlist for all the Audi E-Tron videos at the end of this video, so you can watch that video and see what you think. If you do have the camera wing mirrors, what do you think of them? What do you think of them compared to a normal wing mirror? I'm really interested to know. Let me know in the comments. Next is handling. So this car is big. It sits somewhere between the Q5 and the Q7. But it kind of doesn't handle as well as its rivals. So if you're looking at, say, a BMW X5 or a Porsche Cayenne, it's kind of very wallowy. It's big and it's heavy. It feels very top heavy. On hard corners, everyone in the car is kind of doing this. Even braking, the whole thing just feels like it's just tipping forward. So under kind of normal driving and normal driving modes, it's not the best. However, you can fix that. Let me show you how. So thankfully, it's a really easy fix. You just go into your driving mode, take it out of comfort and put it in dynamic. It's still very comfortable. This is a comfortable car to be in, but being in dynamic, it just seems to adjust the suspension setting slightly and puts it much more like an X5 or a Cayenne. So it's just stiffer. And although that sounds less comfortable, believe me, in corners and under braking, it's much more comfortable. Okay, now this next one really annoys me, and I don't know why it does it. So when you're driving, when you start off, you've got your seatbelt on. The car knows you've got your seatbelt on. However, what it does after about kind of, when you reach, say, maybe 10 miles an hour, it just has quite an uncomfortable tug on the seatbelt and then completely releases it. It reminds me of, you know, when you go to a fairground and you've put your own kind of safety thing on, and then the fairground attendant comes along and just shoves it in you just to make sure it's on, and it really annoys you, but you don't get angry because you're not that person anymore. It's just like that. Let me see if I can replicate it. Okay, so I'm just going to start driving off normally. You watch this seat belt. I'm not sure if you'll be able to spot it. I'll tell you when it does it. Did you see that or not? It really annoys me. Well, before I carry on, I hope you're enjoying this video. If you are, please hit the like button. It really helps me out, really helps the channel out, and really helps me spread the word about electric vehicles. If you're not a subscriber as well, please subscribe. Thank you. Now, next is the steering wheel. I'll try and show you this, and then I'll kind of explain it to you, because I think it's going to be quite hard to show you. So I think this is quite difficult to show, but it's not kind of round. I don't know if you can see. It's more of like an oval shape when you're holding it. So it's not really a comfortable thing to hold. It's a bit like, you know, like a hammer handle. It's a bit like a hammer handle. So Imagine holding two hammer handles. It's great if you're hammering nails, that's a good grip. But for actually a steering wheel, something more kind of round, tubular, I'd say would be much better. Next, which may seem trivial, is lost parking tickets. Unless they're the ones that stick to the windscreen, the car just eats them. This little gap, which I think is probably quite hard to see, the gap between the windscreen and the back of the dashboard there, any parking ticket that's not stuck to the windscreen will just dive down that hole. It's like there's a little vacuum in there. It just eats the tickets, and you can see them and you can't get them out. And then eventually it completely eats them and you can't see them at all. I don't know where they go. We've lost about 6 tickets in this car. Okay, next is some of the lower paneling in the car is really kind of nasty and scratchy. I'll show you. So let's start with the good ones. This feels very Audi. I can push my thumb in there, that's lovely. That's very nice down there. All of this feels really nice. Well, that's a bit creaky. But when you get, that's nice, nice leather there. But when you get down here, you've gone from 2020 Audi to 2009 Kia. Next is efficiency. So this is a 2020 state-of-the-art EV. I've been driving this around quite normally. It's about 20 degrees at the moment, so really good temperature for getting good miles per kilowatt hour out of an EV. So this is doing 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour. So compare that to our e-Golf. Our e-Golf is getting closer to 5 miles per kilowatt hour at the moment. I appreciate this is a lot bigger and heavier than an e-Golf, but compared to our Tesla's getting about 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. So for this to only be getting sort of 2.5, it's a bit like kind of buying a modern car, a modern SUV like this, a petrol or diesel one, and you're getting the MPGs that they were getting back in 2006, say maybe 25 miles per gallon, instead of say sort of 30 plus, which you'd hope. So yeah, for a brand new EV from Audi, the efficiency is a little bit off the market leaders. It's not as efficient as a Jaguar I-Pace, for instance. Right, so lastly, I want to show you the boot. So it's just a double press and it opens, but it does open quite high. Now, I'm 6'2", so it's easy for me to reach this button. I might be 5'8", I can't remember. Anyway, but I can reach this button, but it is quite high. If that's too high for you, you then can't shut it. I thought it was going to shut on my head. You can hear it clicking, but it's just not closing. Not so good, Audi. Right, so I hope you've enjoyed this video and hope it's been helpful, especially if you're looking into buying an Audi E-Tron. For balance, I'll put the playlist for the E-Tron videos here, and you'll also be able to see in there the things that I really love about this car, and it is a very good car. I'll put some other videos around me as well. Until next time, see you soon.